What's up everyone, my name is Mike, welcome back to my channel, and today I want to talk about the Recur drop with Nickelodeon and compare that to what VeVe is doing. Obviously two very different strategies, two very different digital collectibles, but I want to compare them, talk about them, and just what this could look like in the future, especially for VeVe. Let's get into this. So Recur dropped Nickelodeon, Rugrats, and Hey Arnold one-of-one NFTs, and this is the typical NFT route where you get different positions of those characters, you get different backgrounds, you get different accessories in those characters, and that's what creates it as a one-of-one, those differences in those different positions, backgrounds, and accessories with that. But there's still an addition out of, they still have a mint number, so that's very similar to what VeVe is doing with the mint numbers and NFTs in general, so that you have a specific number, a specific collectible that is yours, that is associated to you. The big difference here is that the Nickelodeon drop is these 2D, some animated, actually the more rare ones are animated, the backgrounds. VeVe digital collectibles are premium. They're 3D, some cases 2D posters, but they're still 3D in some sense, being that you can rotate them, you can interact with them, there's so much more, I'm just trying to say, with VeVe digital collectibles that you can do, and that goes into them. So that's not something I'm going to try to compare here. I'm going to more so try to compare strategy. I'm not trying to compare what VeVe's digital collectibles look like and what Recur's digital collectibles look like. I'm going to compare more so strategies and what this looks like with the future. Because Recur's Nickelodeon drop did really well, especially in a bear market. To see it go up 4x in the floor case, in the cheapest ones that you can get after the drop, and then the more rare ones are going for even much more than that, a $50 buy price to get one, and the floor price currently is $200 with that. So obviously Nickelodeon, obviously Recur did something really good here, but what was that, and how can VeVe implement the same sort of thing to be able to create something very unique? We talked about in the last video iPeak, because the Star Trek drop did not do so well. It's this Nickelodeon drop, and the Star Trek drop was one-of-one as well, so obviously it had to come down to perhaps a purchase price, but even with a $250 purchase price of the Star Trek drop, that dropped down to a $100 floor price, and there's still a utility, there's still things to come, a roadmap associated with that Star Trek drop, whereas this Nickelodeon drop is very quick. It's going to be done in about a week here, when you can trade in for slime, and then you can trade in for a mashup collectible with that. So obviously some sort of roadmap or some sort of utility is important with this, and perhaps that's driving up the price right now, and perhaps that'll change immediately after that mashup is done, where you can trade in your character for slime, and if you have 10 slime, you can trade that in for a mashup and something even rarer with that. So perhaps that has something to do with it, or perhaps it's just the one-of-one also that has something to do with it beyond IP, because obviously in the last video we talked about how Nickelodeon really appeals to a demographic that has probably got or starting to get that disposable income to put into NFTs, but with this, you have a one-of-one, something that VeVe just does not have. But what if VeVe could have one-of-ones? What if you could have accessories like the Eye of Agamotto or like the Tesseract, and you could put them into hands of certain characters, or lightsabers in the hand of Yoda or something like that? What if that's in the near future? And actually, I think it is. I think that's been actually discussed. I think David Yu has actually brought that up in a VeVe Magic video, I believe, where he talked about what if Yoda is a digital collectible that comes out and he doesn't have his lightsaber, and you take his lightsaber, you have a Yoda lightsaber with small mints, and you put it in his hand, and that's a one-of-one. But is it really? I think it could be, but I don't think the value is there if you can take it out of his hand. If you can take it out of his hand, then you might as well, it's not a one-of-one. You're not kind of accessorizing somebody. You might as well just sell each digital collectible individually. But if you put it in their hand and it's there permanently, you're ultimately burning two collectibles to create a new collectible. And that's where it's interesting for me. If you can put it in his hand and take it out of his hand, that's not so interesting to me, because you're not necessarily creating a one of one, you're just putting two collectibles together. But if it stays in his hand and you can never take it out because you've burnt the previous version of the lightsaber, and you've burnt the Yoda digital collectible, and now you have a fused together one of one that can never be erased. You've burnt two collectibles to make one, and that's where I think it gets really interesting with what VeVe can do with one-of-one collectibles. Also, VeVe has talked about one-of-one collectibles and of artist proofs. So obviously they're going completely in a different direction than what Recur is doing, where Recur is really going that traditional NFT route of different poses, the same character, accessories, background. And to be honest, I'm not super interested in that. That doesn't get me really excited about the future of NFTs. What VeVe is doing is really getting me excited for the future of NFTs and the possibilities surrounding what you can do with them, because ultimately they've built this infrastructure and they're going to add on to this infrastructure of what they are doing, and that's what gets me excited, and that's what's interesting. And they're willing to break what typical NFTs do with this, and with artist proofs of one of ones. It's not like they're going to take that artist proof, or it doesn't sound like they're going to take that artist proof and do 1,000 different copies of them with different backgrounds and different positions. It's just literally going to be a one of one, which I think really blends together the real world art collector area space than to the digital collecting space. I think what VeVe is doing is they're really blazing a path forward with these NFTs, rather than sticking to what a traditional NFT, even though it's such a new space, and to say traditional NFT is so new, I think what they're doing is they're just trying to stand out from all the rest, and I think they're succeeding in that. So even though what might drop on VeVe and go below retail, ultimately in the future, as more and more people have eyes on VeVe and it gets more attention, what they're doing really just stands out above all these other NFT platforms and different artists doing the same thing in the same regeneration of the same image in different positions. What VeVe's doing is just something different. It's something special, and they can take things that they see other platforms doing and they can improve on them, especially when the same platforms are doing the same thing again and again with what NFTs are doing. They can break what a traditional NFT looks like or feels like, or how we interact with it. And that's what's got me excited about VeVe above a Rugrats and Hey Arnold drop. Even though I definitely would have gone for this Recur drop if I could have, I do still put my faith into what VeVe is doing. I think what we do also need to see is some sort of utility with VeVe, and that creation of putting accessories into certain collectibles' hands and dressing them up adds to that utility, which we've seen Recur do with the Nickelodeon drop, and what we've seen with the roadmap ahead with the Star Trek drop. So lots of things that VeVe can take away from this, and lots of things that get me really excited about the future of VeVe. But let me know if you agree, disagree with anything that I said here. Leave your comments in the comment section below, as always, and like this video if you found it helpful for whatever reason. Subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you so much for watching.